How you doing, guys? Welcome back to the Poise Showcase series, and today I'm taking another look at the Zweihander. Have I pronounced that correctly? I don't know. But anyways, I am pairing the Zweihander here with the Gotthard Twin Swords. Now, I did mention in my previous video that I would be doing a Morn's Great Hammer invasion video, but I've been having a lot of trouble getting footage of those invasions, at least at soul level 125 in my time zone. Now, it doesn't mean that I've given up on doing the actual video, it just means it's going to take me a bit longer to get all the footage I need to put the video together. So I thought that in the meantime, I would do this Poise Showcase. Now, this particular setup here is actually inspired by a player over on the PlayStation 4 who I personally believe is the best Poise user over there on the PlayStation 4 that I've seen at least, and he goes by the name of Gabri. So basically I saw him use a similar setup here in a tournament. I actually can't remember if he used the Zweihander in the left hand or it could have been the Astora Ultra Great Sword, and I think he either had the Lothric Knight Sword or the Gotthards in the right. But essentially I saw him rock that setup in a tournament once and I thought, hey, that's actually pretty cool, so I thought I would adapt that here today in this particular build and showcase my version of it. Now let's go straight into the status page here, guys. We're at soul level 125 using the Prisoner's Chain as usual. So I've gone with 44 Vigor, 14 Attunement for Tears of Denial, 34 Endurance, 31 Vitality, 21 Strength, 18 Dexterity, and 30 Intelligence and 30 Faith because it is a dark build. Now, if you're not a fan of Tears of Denial, you can just, move those points from Attunement into Vigor if you prefer a higher effective HP pool. But for me personally, I do think that Tears is beneficial when you are using the heavier Hyper Armor class weapons, because they're a lot slower and it's more difficult for you to get in those Hyper Armor trades. So it's good to have Tears there when you're going for one last trade and only have that little bit of health left. More so than when you use something like a Greatsword or a regular hammer, which are those, those medium Hyper Armor weapons. I think, it's less critical having Tears with those ones in my opinion, because they're a lot lighter and more easier to optimize for in terms of stats, so you can have higher effective HP pools with those anyway, and also get out those Hyper Armor trades a little bit easier because those weapons are a bit quicker in terms of their active frame activation. Anyways, guys, let's go straight into the equipment page here, guys. Dark Gotthard Twin Swords plus 10 there in the right hand, and basically I'm using this because the Gotthards has the best range of the straight sword class in the game, and it's in the right hand, so we can take advantage of the full moveset of the straight sword class here in addition to its range. Now, you can also switch out to two-handing the Gotthard Twin Swords. They are actually quite good paired even after the nerf. I still think they're quite decent here, guys, and obviously you have that Zweihander there for the Hyper Armor trading, and when you two-hand that, you can contest those bigger weapons at the trade there as well. So a lot of options and versatility there to play around with your Poise. Now back over to the equipment page. Dark Zweihander plus 10 there. I'm also carrying a light crossbow plus 10 as utility with exploding bolts and splintering bolts. A blessed Kestis plus 10 there as a parrying tool, and also blessed for a little bit of HP regen, and the sacred chime of Filianor to cast Tears of Denial. Now on top of that, you do have the weapon art of the Filianor chime, so if you are given the room to cast it, you do get a little bit more HP regen there, guys, as well. Now in terms of armor, I'm running with the Black Iron Helm, the Gundier's Armor, the Black Iron Gauntlets, and the Lapsed Leggings here. So we've got pretty decent absorption values as well, I do think, here in my opinion. So we've got some decent dark defense and also decent slash defense all around, which is good. And I am running with 41.99 Poise. So essentially that means that, faster weapon classes are going to be pretty easy for us to just smash through using the Zweihander. But I do recommend that against other, big Hyper Armor weapons like other Ultras, Great Axes, and Great Hammers, that you two-hand your Zweihander if you are going to go for those trades. Now on top of that, if you are fighting another bigger weapon and your opponent is wearing heavier armor, it is probably not a good idea to go for that trade, even two-handed, because you're only going to be able to tank the opening attack, and it's likely that your opponent is going to be able to do that as well. So they'll be able to follow up, and you'll get Poise broken at the second swing, and you won't be able to Poise break them at the first swing. So essentially, if they're wearing rags and they're using a heavier weapon, then that's okay, because you'll likely Poise break them at that first swing to get in your two-hit combo. Otherwise, if your opponent is heavily armored using those bigger weapons, just switch out to the Twin Swords and have that crossbow there as well, and pick them apart using those hit and run tactics, guys. And that's pretty much it here, guys, for this build. In terms of rings, it's my standard setup. So you've got the Havel's Ring plus 3, the Prisoner's Chain, the Chloranthy plus 3, and the Ring of Favor plus 3 there to round out the build. So that's it, guys. Let's go take this bad boy into the arena. Alright guys, first match of the day today. What do we have over there? Looks like we have a Pyromancer. I can see that flame in the left hand. Alright, a Pyromancer with a straight sword. Got to be careful here. Yep, that's what we've got to be careful of. That black flame. It's going to do a lot of damage. I mean, we have the Poise here to trade with the Ultra Greatsword, but we have to be careful. Ooh, look at that boulder heap. I don't see that very often. But yeah, we've got to be careful when we approach with the straight sword, as you know, we'll get Poise broken by that black flame, if my opponent times it correctly. Oh, almost a roll catch there. Good variety of pyros there to keep me on my toes. Nice, nice. And game. Alright guys, next up in the arena, we got a thick boy here with a straight sword and a parrying shield. Remember what I mentioned at the start of the video about, you know, ultra weapons having that much slower hyper armor activation? Well, you saw that there. Essentially, it's so slow that your opponent can hit you and roll away before you get it out. So you're going to be very careful with your timing here. I think we'll switch up here to the Blessed Kestis and the Gotthards for a little bit, just to get some HP regen back, as we're at a bit of a disadvantage here at the moment. Whoop, there we go. Good range on the Gotthards. Just got to be careful about chaining successive straight sword attacks here as well, guys, as I do not want to get parried. See, and this is where, you know, your competitive patience has to come in, guys. When you're at a disadvantage, it's about playing that hit and run game, playing that long game. There we go. Next up in the arena. What do we have over there? You can see the parrying tool in the left, small shield, and a straight sword. Alright, what's the game plan here? See if we can bait him into a big hyper armor trade with the Zweihander on the left. There we go. Nice, big damage, those big boy hits. Oh, he switched over to an Astora. Now the Astora is actually one of the easiest weapons to parry in terms of the charge, so let's see if he tries to pull that off. Yeah, there we go. Whoop, I missed it. And there we go. Good game. Next match here, guys, going up against another Pyromancer. Now I've been noticing quite a few more Pyromancers than usual here in the arena lately, which is pretty cool. Pyromancers are actually quite effective and also meta viable. I mean, that Demon Scar Pyromancer build is a well-known build. Even though this guy's not using a Demon Scar here, but it's quite an effective setup anyway with that straight sword. Just got to be careful, got to watch out here. He's obviously trying to use those straight sword R2s to bait me into a black flame if I approach with the straight sword on my right, so I've got to be careful here about how I approach this guy, considering he definitely wants to go for that black flame. There we go. Playing the long game here, guys, looking for those opportunities, looking for those openings. One more trade, guys. Yeah. Straight on to the next match. And we've got another Pyromancer over there. I can see the flame in the left. And looks like the Onyx Blade. Okay. Now, wielding that Onyx Blade one-handed is not going to give him any hyper armor, so we've got to remember that. It'll give us the advantage. Whoop, nice roll catch. Black Serpent. Very easy to space Black Serpent. Oof, flawless victory. Good game. Alright guys, next match. Now I gotta say, I'm having so much fun using this particular setup here, guys. Gabri over on the PS4 was definitely onto something, because this thing is mega fun to play, and it's actually quite effective. It's not a bad little setup. Ooh, nice roll catch. Oh, I did not mean to jump there, guys. That was my mistake. Now let's see if we can get give the crossbow some limelight. Now I do try and include some free aim crossbow shots in all of my vids if I can. So let's see what we can do here, guys. Next up in the arena. It looks like that's our pyromancer friend from a little bit earlier. He was trying to bait us into that black flame before. Let's see if he goes for the same tactic here. Oh, playing a little bit more aggressively. Maybe. Now there is a little bit of latency between us here as there was in the previous match, which is why you saw that attack actually hit me there. So in these situations, it's about, really it just comes down to rolling twice, guys. I mean, just rolling twice to avoid, or to make up for that little bit of latency. Now, Scott Jund actually made a video on that. He did focus on Dark Souls 2, but it can be applied here as the netcode of this game isn't that much more evolved. Basically, you got to remember that in situations like this, you're about half a second behind, or you are where you were half a second ago, is what he said in that particular video. So you got to keep that in mind when you have fights like this, and compensate for that latency between you and your opponent. Good game. Alright guys, on to our next challenger here. Oh, I thought he was a pyromancer there again, but nope. Got a flame straight sword there. Good spacing on my opponent's part there. Oh, nice R2. Almost got us there with that weapon up. Almost got him again. Oh, that was miscalculated on my part. Nice big hits there with the Zweihander. Alrighty guys, let's go for one last match here today. What do we have over there? I saw an arbalist there for a second, and it looks like a great sword. Is that the claymore? Claymore? Good spacing here in the opening seconds of the match by both players. He's pulling out that arbalist, looking for an opportunity here. Oh, nice roll catch. Well, should have been free aiming that shot there, mate. With exploding bolts. Oh, big damage. Can we get a flawless victory here today, guys? Can we get a flawless? Let's find out. Ooh. Damn, good game. Alright guys, so that brings us to the end of this particular video. I hope you enjoyed this one. This particular build is a lot of damn fun in my opinion, guys. I had a lot of fun using this, very enjoyable. So yeah guys, if you did enjoy this video, please hit that like button. If you're enjoying my content, please subscribe. And as always guys, thank you for watching. Until next time.